ever afraid? You feel scared? You feel fear? Fear is a natural and instinctual brain-based response designed to protect you from physical harm, like the attack of a mountain lion. But unfortunately, the brain also perceives any change as a physical threat. Even a new haircut, a new habit, investment in a personal growth program. All of that is seen as a physical threat to you. And that's when fear becomes a barrier, preventing you from pursuing your goals, experiencing life fully, and stepping outside your comfort zone. And in those kinds of cases, you actually have nothing to fear. That's the amazing thing. There's actually nothing to fear. Your brain tells you that you should be afraid because that's what it's programmed to do. And that's when your thoughts turn toward future negative potentialities, the things that could go wrong or feel uncomfortable if you take that new action. Your mental chatter says doing something new or different is scary, so you feel disinclined to make any changes. Even those that would benefit you, you still feel afraid to make those changes. And instead you opt for safety, real or imagined, over fear, real or imagined. So these kinds of decisions lower your confidence level. You don't feel able to take bold action anymore. You can't courageously go after your dreams, do what's necessary to achieve your goals, or even get a new haircut or start a new exercise routine. After all, a confident person can move through fear. They have the internal feeling that they can rely on themselves. They trust themselves and their decisions and actions, and they possess all the self-assurance arising from their knowledge and appreciation of their abilities and their qualities. That's a confident person. A courageous person tends to be a confident person. And when you learn to overcome fear, your confidence level will increase. And each time you don't listen to your brain and you instead affirm and trust that your actions are safe and take action, you create proof that being courageous won't result in physical harm, because no physical harm happens, right? So, and as a result of that, your confidence grows. Now, before discussing ways to overcome fear and become more confident, it's helpful to understand how the brain creates fear. So I've done some research on that for you that I'm going to share. Okay, so fear is created and processed in the brain in a really fascinating and complex process that involves various regions and pathways and other things. So first we have the amygdala. The amygdala is often referred to as the fear center of the brain. And when a perceived threat is detected, sensory information is then relayed to the amygdala, which is also called the reptilian brain. I talk about the reptilian brain a lot, which evaluates the potential danger. The amygdala then triggers the body's fight or flight response, activating physiological reactions such as an increased heart rate and the release of adrenaline. Then we have the thalamus, which acts as a relay system or station for sensory information. It quickly processes incoming stimuli like sight and sound before sending it to the amygdala for an emotional response. And that enables rapid reactions to threats, sometimes even before you're fully conscious of the threat. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for higher thinking and decision making, and it assesses the situation and can either reinforce or inhibit the fear response based on the context. If the context determines that the threat is real, it's going to amplify the fear response. And conversely, if the threat is really, if it decides that it's a non-existent threat or not a real threat, the cortex helps calm the amygdala. The hippocampus plays a really crucial role in forming memories about the past and experiences and conceptualizing fear responses. It helps individuals learn from previous encounters with danger, enabling them to recognize and remember threats in the future or even in the present. This function explains why you bring past memories of fearful situations into the present and believe you're going to experience them in the future, right? So that's why if you got bitten by a dog as a child, you're afraid of dogs every time you see them. Then we have various neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin and hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which are involved in the fear response. These chemicals affect mood and arousal and the body's readiness to respond to threats. They're released when the brain perceives danger. Now, fear can be learned through conditioning when neural stimuli become associated with fear-inducing events, and that's commonly studied in behaviorism. Think about Pavlov's dogs, and explains why specific phobias actually develop. Again, so if you were bitten by a dog as a child, you might have become conditioned to fear all dogs, even as an adult. Now, then we have neuroplasticity. The brain's ability to change over time is called neuroplasticity. And this ability allows you to overcome fears through things like exposure therapy or other techniques. By reconditioning your responses, or actually not having reactions, but conditioning actual responses, you learn to manage or diminish the fear responses or triggers associated with them. So, for example, if you move through your fear of heights on several occasions, so like you do little things to get over your fear of heights, you develop new neural pathways that tell your brain that heights are safe. Now, as you probably realize by now, fear is a critical survival mechanism. And understanding how the brain processes fear offers us insights into overcoming irrational fears and anxieties. And most of your fears are just that, irrational. They're not real fears. A real rational fear arises from the lion running toward you, baring its teeth. A false irrational fear arises from thoughts that your new haircut will cause you physical harm. Rationally, you know it won't. You might not like the haircut after you get it. Others could criticize you for it, but you're not going to be harmed physically or die. Now, there might be a historical context for your fear, though. For example, as a teenager, maybe you cut your hair and dyed it without your parents' permission. And when they saw you, your mom berated you for that decision and that action. And your dad actually slapped you and sent you to your room for making such a poor decision. You now have an irrational fear that this is going to happen again if you cut or dye your hair, even though your parents are now long dead. You might subconsciously believe that someone else might do something similar if you cut your hair or dye it, and that stops you from even entertaining the thought of a new hairstyle. Clearly, the brain doesn't always discern actual danger in the present moment, but you can work with the brain to make irrational fears go away. So now that brings us to my 7 ways to overcome fear. Whether you fear failure, spiders, rejection, public speaking, the unknown, a haircut, the key to overcoming these feelings lies in understanding and managing them effectively. So let's look at these 7 powerful ways to confront your fears head on, and as a result, you're going to feel more confident and more courageous. So let's start by acknowledging your fears. That's number 1. Acknowledge your fears. Start by identifying what you fear. Make a list of your fears. Sometimes simply acknowledging and naming your fear diminishes the power it has over you. Acknowledging your fears also helps you stop trying to ignore or negate them, which can actually increase them, can exacerbate the issue. Gaining clarity on what you're afraid of also provides a starting point for overcoming the fear. Then you can try to uncover and understand the root of your fear, which allows you to address it directly. So, for example, if you fear public speaking, uncover the reason why. Is it the fear of forgetting your words and then feeling embarrassed, or is it a fear of judgment? If you can identify your fear of public speaking as, let's just say, the fear of being judged, you can then strategize how to combat that fear instead of avoiding the situation altogether. And number 2 is to reframe your thoughts. This is really a big one, reframe your thoughts. Fear comes from a focus on thoughts of negative potentialities, negative things that could happen. You place your attention on past events, and then you assume you're going to experience the same fear or harm in the future. Or maybe you know somebody else who did something and had a bad outcome, and you're trying to avoid that. So you're thinking about that. You're thinking about the possibility that that could happen. So since you're the thinker of your thoughts, and you are the thinker of your thoughts, you can choose what to think about. Okay? So when you stop placing your attention on fearful outcomes and focus your thoughts on positive, safe ones, you reduce your fear significantly. It's amazing how when we stop thinking about the thing that's fearful, the fear is reduced. Now, in personal growth circles, coaches often ask clients who are considering doing something scary, if you do it, will you die? And the client almost always says, no, I won't die. And then after they take action, the person realizes nothing bad happened. And us coaches, we come back and say, and did you die? And the client says, no, I didn't die. And so they've spent all this time ruminating over the adverse outcomes that never happened. And actually, when they realize that nothing bad happened, that begins the process of reprogramming the brain. So sometimes this process is called cognitive reframing, and that's a technique used to change negative thought patterns into more positive ones. We do this all the time. We even do it with affirmations and things like that. And the method identifies the challenge, the challenges that unhelpful or distorted thoughts create, and replaces them with more realistic and positive perspectives. And when you view your fears from a more realistic and positive perspective, you actually can diffuse them. Okay, number 3, short and easy. Practice self-compassion. Maybe not easy, but simple. Treat yourself kindly. Recognize that everyone experiences fear and self-doubt, and instead of being critical of yourself, encourage yourself as you would a friend. That said, don't give yourself too much grace. If your fears are irrational, encourage yourself to recognize them as such and develop the confidence to overcome them. Take action. A lot of people give themselves too much grace and say, I'm just giving myself grace right now, but you have to actually start taking some action. So number 4 involves visualization. Visualize yourself being courageous. Spend time visualizing or imagining yourself succeeding in overcoming your fears. Imagine yourself taking bold action, which is the definition of courage, and having great results. As you mentally see yourself overcoming your fear, you're going to rewire your brain to believe that you can be trusted to keep yourself safe. You also rewire it to see that the actions you want to take aren't harmful. They won't harm you. And then keep this in mind. The brain can't distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It responds the same to your visualizations of moving through your fear as it does to taking actual action to do that. That's why visualization offers such a powerful tool for reprogramming the brain for less fear and more courage. Now, hypnosis and self-hypnosis are also enormously effective tools in this realm because these methodologies help you visualize at a subconscious level, or they tap in at a subconscious level, which negates some fears you may not realize impact your ability to take bold action. Okay, number 5 is to seek support. Surround yourself with supportive people who can offer perspectives that that you might not see on your own. So a coach or a group focused on helping you overcome fear and bold action will do the trick. So you all know that I'm a transformational coach and a certified high performance coach, and I have my Inspired Creator community. So those are the kind of programs and coaching you want to invest in, okay? Doing this work on your own can sometimes lead to failure and frustration, which doesn't embolden you or increase your confidence. It does the opposite. Many people, for instance, are afraid of public speaking, and they join groups like Toastmasters. Seeing people with the same fear speak to the group increases your confidence that you can do the same thing. And the people in the group understand your fear and encourage you to get up there on stage and speak. Okay, number 6, take action. Number 6, to take action. So fear can paralyze you, but taking even a small step in the direction of your goals creates momentum, and action breeds confidence. So step out of your comfort zone regularly to practice being courageous. The more often you face your fears, the more confidence you're going to build over time. There's something called exposure therapy, which involves exposing someone to something they fear so they realize it's safe, and they eventually reprogram the brain and they get over their reaction to this thing. So gradual exposure does desensitize you to fear, making the fear less powerful over time. Plus, you gain confidence as you face your fears in kind of manageable increments. And while that kind of process can be emotionally taxing and initially increase your anxiety levels, it does work over time, and it also reprograms your brain. And you can do some of that on your own. Like if you're afraid of spiders, just, you know, kill one or move one or just get close to one or whatever. And you'll see after time that exposure and realizing that you're still safe does help. I always think of this in terms of, fear of heights. Start with standing on a step or a low stool and gradually work your way up to an observation deck or a tall building, right? Each step you take reinforces your ability to manage your fear and feel more comfortable and confident navigating higher elevations. All right, last 7, practice mindfulness and relaxation techniques. As you've learned, the body reacts to the brain's determination that there's something to fear. But you can stop the physical process, which helps you then feel less afraid and more confident. Mindfulness reduces anxiety by focusing your awareness in the present moment. Self compassion alleviates feelings of inadequacy, enabling you to face fears, without all that negative self talk and harsh self judgment. So you can try techniques like meditation and yoga or deep breathing because they help you manage anxiety and ground yourself in the moment. It's a simple practice to take deep breaths when you feel afraid. I always suggest trying Andrew Weil's 4-7-8 breathing method to calm yourself. You just breathe in 4, hold for 7, breathe out for 8. So breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, and you actually put your tongue behind your teeth when you're doing this. Anyway, you can find his video, and in my blog post that's associated with this video, there is a link. And then, really the key to overcoming fear and developing confidence lies in personal growth. There's an interplay between fear, confidence, and personal growth because learning to move through your fears or to eliminate them involves a process of personal change. The personal growth or personal development process is a lifelong journey of self-improvement that's focused on enhancing your potential, your skills, and your well-being so you can achieve a more fulfilling life. It involves a continuous cycle of self-awareness and goal setting and learning and action to cultivate new capabilities and a better understanding of yourself. It's a process that impacts all aspects of your life, including personal, spiritual, professional, and interpersonal relationships. Um, the more you work on understanding yourself and moving through things like your fears, the better able you are to navigate life, choose your responses, and do the things you really want to do. So a lot of people pursue personal growth with a coach or in a group program, like I mentioned, because they want to become more courageous and confident. They are looking to develop these characteristics and change their identities so they can be someone courageous, be someone confident. So they want to change who they're being. And to overcome and develop confidence, you want to focus on personal growth. Find a coach or a program that can help you uncover and understand your fears and take confident and courageous action despite feeling afraid. You really have to either negate those fears or just start doing things and see that the proof is that you still are safe after you've done the scary things. So you have to become a person able to go after your goals and dreams because you have trust in your ability to manage your thoughts and actions, despite your brain insisting it's unsafe for you to do that. So be a courageous and confident person by overcoming your fears. I'd love to know if you have fears you need to overcome so you can confidently pursue your dreams and goals and live your life fully. So tell me in a comment below. And I do come in here and I do answer comments. If you have questions, leave your questions down below. If you're new to me, I am Nina Amir. I'm known as the Inspiration to Creation Coach. I am many things, including a transformational coach, an intuitive, a certified high performance coach, an author, and an author coach. And what I love doing is helping people step into being someone who can take the actions to create what really matters to them. I believe you are a creator, a powerful creator, and that you can create whatever it is you desire. But typically, we have to get out of our own way, and that involves personal and spiritual growth. I believe you're a spiritual being having a human experience, so I like to incorporate both the personal and spiritual aspects of who you are into my coaching. I do that mostly with the transformational coaching and in the inspired creator community. It does enter into my certified high performance coaching to some extent. Anyway, if you're interested in working with me in some way, I'm going to put a link up above that shows the 3 different ways to work with me. If the Inspired Creator community is not open right now, you can put your name on the waiting list. Then I'm also going to put a link up above in case you want to chat with me about my programs, my coaching programs, and working with me. So you can click on the other link that leads you to schedule a 15-minute session with me. And we'll meet and we'll see if we're a good fit to work together, and we can talk about my offerings and see what it is you need. So you can tell me about your challenges, and we'll see if we're a good fit to work through those together. But if you have fears that are holding you back, it's time to do something different, isn't it? It's time to learn to be more courageous and confident so that you can live fully. So reach out if that's something you'd like to talk about. And until I talk to you next time, as always, go out there and achieve more inspired results.